Welcome to the Nevis Newscast from Monday, March 9th, 2020. I am Bronte Swanston Hendrickson. The following is an announcement from the Office of the Premier in the Nevis Island Administration. This notice is to inform that the Honourable Mark Brantley, Premier of Nevis, is on personal leave. He left the island on Saturday, March 7th, 2020 and is expected to return on Saturday, March 14th, 2020. In his absence, the Honourable Alexis Jeffers, Deputy Premier of Nevis, is the acting Premier. The general public is asked to be guided accordingly. International Women's Day presents us with yet another opportunity to reflect on the numerous gains that we have made in improving the lot of our women and to chart the way forward in establishing a new paradigm for gender equality in our society. So noted Junior Minister of Gender Affairs, the Honourable Hazel Bradley Williams, in her address to mark the celebration of International Women's Day on Sunday, March 8th. The theme, Generation Equality, the coexistence of men and women.
Gender equality in all its manifestations is the hallmark of any well-functioning society and democracy. However, if we are to achieve true gender equality, then there must be meaningful partnership and the coexistence of both our men and women, be it in the home or places of work, in the schools and in the corridors of our parliament. This partnership and peaceful coexistence must entail men and women uplifting and supporting each other in helping to break down systemic barriers which have long hindered our societies from moving on to progressive pathways of excellence.
International Women's Day 2020 coincides with the 25th anniversary of the Beijing Declaration, a landmark document which initiated action to eliminate unequal access to health care, the burden of poverty, violence against women, and the sharing of power and decision-making at all levels.
The 25th anniversary of the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action therefore gives us cause to pause, to reflect and to consolidate. Indeed, it is particularly appropriate that we do so in the year 2020, which is equally synonymous with exhibiting vision and visual acuity. That vision must unveil itself in the year 2020, as we chart the way forward over the next decade to achieve in full effect the 2030 Sustainable Development Agenda, of which gender equality is at the epicenter.
The Gender Affairs Minister noted that each generation is called on to improve on the gains made by the generation prior.
I therefore sound a clarion call for the next generation of gender activists to come to the fore and help us to address the unfinished business of working toward equality. Let us identify the areas where we have fallen short, for in closing the generation gap, our economy will prosper and our society will be the better. What is more is that the gains will be greater when both our men and our women work hand in hand and do it together. I therefore ask everyone to consider the role that they can play in achieving a new generation of gender equality, as we seek to build a Nevis where every girl and every boy has the opportunity to fulfill his or her potential.
On Sunday, March 8th, the Ministry of Health and Gender Affairs joined the congregation of the Eden Brown Church of God for a worship service in celebration of International Women's Day. Several other activities hosted by the Gender Affairs Division will take place throughout the month of March. The NIA's Ministry of Health is assuring the division public that it is taking the threat of the coronavirus seriously. In a press release issued on March 6th, the ministry says while there are no confirmed cases of COVID-19 in the Federation, it is taking the necessary steps to prevent infection. On March 4th, 2020, the ministry convened its second multi-stakeholder meeting aimed at assessing and further strengthening its COVID-19 preparedness and response plan. Procedures and protocols in place for containment at the border include enhanced surveillance of travelers to the Vance W. Ambry International Airport and the Charlestown and Long Point seaports by port health officers and assigned port health nurses. There is ongoing training of all cadre of staff at healthcare institutions about COVID-19 infection, prevention and control, and case management. Case definitions and clinical guidelines for case management have been made available to doctors and nurses in both the public and the private sectors. Preparedness has also included discussions of case scenarios with appropriate mapping of action plans, identification of isolation areas at Alexandra Hospital, assessing current stock levels and procurement of additional stocks, and the scaling up of COVID-19 public education through the use of PSAs via television and radio, flyers, pamphlets, and various social media platforms. On Monday, March 9th, the Health Promotion Unit began to facilitate educational sessions and discussions with schools, hotels, businesses, and other organizations throughout the island. In addition, on Wednesday, March 11th at 9:30 a.m., 1:15 p.m. and 4:15 p.m., the Ministry of Health and Gender Affairs will be hosting a coronavirus COVID-19 symposium. The aim is to update the general public on what they need to know about this new virus and to hear from the technical team and partners involved in the response. Meantime, while the Ministry of Health moves towards readiness and response for COVID-19, it continues to emphasize the practice of good hand hygiene through frequent and thorough hand washing and cough etiquette in order to reduce the risk of transmission of respiratory viruses. Social distancing by avoiding close contact with people suffering from acute respiratory infections and remaining at home if you exhibit flu-like symptoms. Travelers coming or returning to the Federation being required to self-report if they feel they might have been exposed to COVID-19 or feel ill, and calling ahead to your physician or health institution stating your symptoms and any travel history to allow for preparation at the office or institution prior to your visit. More information on the novel coronavirus can be accessed via the Health Promotion Unit's social media sites as well as WHO, PAHO, CAFA, and the CDC websites. According to the press release, a hotline will be activated if necessary. Still to come, Nevis Island branch of Commonwealth Parliamentary Association celebrates Commonwealth Day. The details after this break.
Coronaviruses are a large family of viruses that cause illness ranging from the common cold to more severe diseases such as Middle East Respiratory Syndrome MERS-CoV and severe acute respiratory syndrome SARS-CoV. The 2019 novel coronavirus 2019 nCoV is a new strain that has not been previously identified in humans. Coronaviruses are zoonotic, meaning they are transmitted from animals to humans. Detailed investigations found that SARS-CoV was transmitted from civet cats to humans and MERS-CoV from dromedary camels to humans. Several known coronaviruses are circulating in animals that have not yet infected humans. Common signs of infection include respiratory symptoms, fever, cough, shortness of breath, and breathing difficulties. In more severe cases, infection can cause pneumonia, severe acute respiratory syndrome, kidney failure, and even death. To protect yourself and prevent the spread of the infection, practice regular hand washing, covering mouth and nose when coughing and sneezing, thoroughly cooking meat and eggs. Avoid close contact with anyone showing symptoms of respiratory illness such as coughing and sneezing. This message was brought to you by the Nevis Health Promotion Unit.
Welcome back. Commonwealth Day, the second Monday in March, is being celebrated today. The annual celebration is observed by people in Africa, Asia, the Caribbean and Americas, the Pacific and Europe. In keeping with this year's theme, delivering a common future, connecting, innovating, transforming, on Monday, March 9th, youth parliamentarians of the Nevis branch of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association engaged in courtesy interviews with government officials in the Nevis Island administration. Deputy Governor General Her Honor Hailita Liburd, Deputy Premier and Minister of Agriculture, the Honorable Alexis Jeffers, Junior Minister of Education, the Honorable Troy Liburd, Minister of Youth, the Honorable Eric Evelyn, Senior Minister and Minister of Environment, the Honorable Spencer Brand, and Junior Minister, the Honorable Hazel Brandy Williams. This year's Commonwealth Day activities are centered on the theme, Delivering a Common Future, highlighting how the 54 member countries are innovating, connecting, and transforming to help achieve some of its biggest goals, like protecting natural resources and boosting trade. Nevis Electricity Company Limited NEVLEC is advising its customers of a scheduled power outage for Wednesday, March 11th, 2020. This is to facilitate the upgrade of high-voltage lines to provide an electricity supply to the reservoir at Hamilton. Customers on the Cotton Ground feeder from the bottom of the bypass road to the reservoir at Hamilton, including the cable antenna, will be affected by the power outage, scheduled for 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. NEVLEC wishes to apologize to its customers for any inconvenience caused due to this interruption. And that's it for this edition of the Nevis Newscast. On behalf of all of us here at the Department of Information, I am Bronte Swanston Hendrickson. Thank you for viewing.